I now declare the regular meeting of the Concord Township Board of Trustees to order. It's August 15th, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Malczewski.
Present.
Mrs. Luda.
Here. Now we have swearing in of the following regular part-time firefighters and paramedics: Austin Gyorski and Leonard Meek. Did I say it right? Okay. Repeat after me. I solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
obey the laws of the United States,
obey the laws of the United States,
the state of Ohio,
the state of Ohio,
and of Concord Township.
and of Concord Township.
I will, in all respects,
I will, in all respects,
observe the laws set forth by the Ohio Revised Code,
observe the laws set forth by the Ohio Revised Code,
strive to complete the mission
strive to complete the mission
of the Concord Township Fire Department,
of the Concord Township Fire Department,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of a Concord firefighter.
of a Concord firefighter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Well deserved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay, now we have the minutes of the July 18th regular trustees meeting.
As I recall, and it was some time ago I looked at them, I don't think we had any, I didn't have any issues with those.
I didn't either.
Okay.
So they're approved. Amy, do you have a report?
I do. As of July 31st, we were 58% of the way through the calendar year. Treasury balance for the 19 active funds within the township treasury was $5.6 million. Treasury balance includes $555,000 in funds set aside for specific projects. Year-to-date expenditures were 46% of the amount appropriated for 2018. The revenue received year-to-date is 71%, including the advance on the second half of our real estate taxes, so we are well within budget. We will be receiving one more, it's not in advance, but one more funding of the real estate taxes this year, and then we won't receive any more taxes until next year. So, real estate taxes, that is. If you have specific financial questions, please do not hesitate to call our office, 354-7516. You can also always go onto ohiocheckbook.com. So if we're not here and you have a question that can't wait, you can always go in and see our expenditures for the last 5 years on ohiocheckbook.com. And then the last thing I have to say is that Friday I will be attending in Cuyahoga Falls training on the Ohio Pooled Collateral System. And what that is it is a requirement by financial institutions to publish the fact that they have collateral that matches with your funds on deposit with them. So I believe anybody can go into the system and make sure we're well collateralized, but I will find that out on Friday. So,
What's your thoughts on how Concord Township appears in the Ohio checkbook system?
I think it looks great.
Okay.
I mean,
We had some issues initially.
we did have some issues, and I would say we have to, I couldn't break out things like it says road and highways. That's really, we're not spending money on highways, but that was a standard code that we couldn't change. So there are a couple of codes that we tried to customize that we can't customize. So if you are on there and have any questions like, well, what do you mean my money's going toward highways? It really isn't. It's just the funding code. So I'd be happy to explain that to you. If you need any information, give me a call.
Thank you,
So,
Jeannie.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Malcheski, do you have anything?
Just had Mr. Galloway's not here because of an incident that he's recovering from, and he missed community days and he missed this meeting, and hopefully he'll be back next week. But I just want to commend Deb Esker and her entire team and staff and all the contributors and volunteers for community days, because I thought it went really, really well. And it's a lot of effort for a one-day event, but I think it was necessary, and I think they did a great job. So
I think it was one of the best community days I can remember,
it's great. It's great.
and I can remember a lot of them. Okay, well, and we wish Mr. Galloway well. Department reports, Andy Rose, Administrator.
Thank you, Mrs. Luda, ladies and gentlemen, members of the audience. Residents are encouraged to participate in the mock elections that are being done by the Lake County Board of Elections. The mock elections run through this Friday, I believe, at 4 o'clock, and they are being utilized to test updated voting equipment. So we encourage folks to go and test that equipment. Work on the Cryle-Auburn intersection and the Cryle-Capitol intersection should begin within the next 2 weeks. There was a slight delay to further revise some plans. The project's expected to last about 4 to 6 weeks. Announcements, closures, detours will be posted on our website and on our social media platforms as soon as they are finalized, which should be Monday. Please remember, this is for everyone, please remember that schools are starting back. Keep an eye out for the kids, buses, walkers, bike riders. And then I would just like to echo what Mr. Malcheski said. I'd like to thank the sponsors, parade participants, the township employees, and all of our residents for a terrific community day. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we come to the audience portion. Anyone on any subject, come up and introduce yourself.
Me again. Robert Esposito, 7559 Cedar Lane Drive. I've had a small problem with dogs being allowed in my neighborhood, barking all night, all morning. Is there any way we can change the code of ordinance on dogs being this loud, just barking? I mean, is there a noise ordinance that we can go by?
There's a noise resolution, but it would not apply during the day. It takes effect, I believe, at 11 in the evening. And it goes till,
I mean,
Yeah, but I don't know what it does anything with the dogs.
I don't think
Yeah, I
so.
gotta be,
I doubt it.
because this is, I mean, my girlfriend sleeps during the day in the mornings, and we have a neighbor, dogs constantly barking. I don't want to call the sheriff's department. They have better things to do.
Yeah.
I mean, is there,
Have you talked to the neighbor?
my homeowners association president's already sent a letter out,
Mm-hmm.
and he's not going to do anything about it. The neighbor's just, that's how he is. It's kind of disturbing. I mean, 10 o'clock at night, you hear a dog barking.
yeah, this problem is just one of many that are similar to that I always wondered, and I don't know if there's any thoughts out there, but I was, I used to do is that I would have our zoning department or someone from the trustee's office usually send like a good neighbor letter. Hey, be a good neighbor, do that. And I have one buried around that I pull out every so often to use. My other thoughts were is if you ever had this almost like a small little mediation center that says, okay, we got a neighbor dispute, we're gonna come in here and try to resolve those issues if it's ever helpful. I think as a township, we should assist in trying to come to some of those resolutions if it's helpful. Sometimes they blow up some more. I'm not sure if it's it's helpful or not for us to get involved, but certainly if it's a problem and you want us to do something, we can be more than happy to send a letter. you know, or make a suggestion like that. And so far, we've been doing it on a, you know, case-by-case basis.
Right. I mean, I looked at like City of Mentor's code of ordinance, and they have, you know, a noise for, you know, dogs and barking, and I'm just wondering, you know,
We're working on doing some of those things. I don't know if it's in our authority or our ability to have authority to regulate that. And I can't recall because I just didn't look up the dog issues, but I do know that we're looking to you know, gain some more authority through our zoning department.
yeah, because I know Lake County doesn't have their, we go under their ordinances, they don't have nothing on for that either. So, I mean, the neighborhoods are getting bigger around here, and you
Sure.
see more complaints, I think,
Sure.
about people
Sure.
not controlling, so.
Yeah, I mean, I had a chicken complaint or a rooster complaint the other day, and I know that there's nothing we can do about that, but I did wander over to the neighbor and say, hey, is there something we can do to, you know, stifle some of that noise coming out of there? And we'll see how that works out by the end of the, you know, summer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, anyone else in the audience on any subject? Okay, if not, we'll move to, there's no old business, we'll move right into new business, and we have July financial statement.
I'll make a motion to approve the July financial statements as previously viewed.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would also make a motion to adopt Streetlight Resolution 2018-25, resolution authorizing the fiscal officer to certify assessed streetlights to the county auditor for the tax year 2018, with such assessed street lighting being collectible in the calendar year 2019. Those roads are Spear Road, Marlow Drive, Fairgrounds Road, Morley Hills 4A, Morley Hills, Quail Hollow Development, Camden Creek, Nature Preserve South, Noble Ridge Estates, Nature Preserve North, Hunt Club / Frito, Quail Highlands Industrial Park, Summerwood, Concord Ridge, Orchard Spring 1 and 2, and Auburn Business Corridor Lighting District.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, resolution 2018-26.
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2018-26, a resolution authorizing the Board of Trustees for Concord Township to enter into a written agreement with Labor Relations Management, Inc. to provide management consulting services for the township's administration.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then there's a,
Then I would also make a motion to approve the Quail Hollow Phase Number 11 street lighting request.
Oh, I'm sorry, we need to table that.
Can we table that?
Yeah, we've not heard from the developer or the electric company, so
I
we're
will
still waiting on
withdraw my
information.
motion and I will
Thank you.
table that.
right,
My apologies.
I make a motion on behalf of the fire department to promote firefighter paramedic Austin Karowski to regular part-time status with a step increase to $16.46 per hour effective August 4th of 2018.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make another motion to approve the fire department's promotion of firefighter paramedic Frank Virent to regular part-time status with a step increase to $16.46 per hour effective August 3rd, 2018.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would make a motion to allow the fire department to establish a position of a full-time, unclassified, non-exempt fire inspector.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the next item is the presentation of the fire station project.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. Tonight I wanted to just bring everyone up to date on where we are with the fire station project. I know several months ago we talked about a fire station assessment and location study done by the Ohio Fire Chiefs in 2017. And a lot has happened since that study was done. And it's important to point out that all the steps that we're taking are very deliberate and slow, and we just want to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's. This is not a small task. Just to give you a little bit of
Chief, you want, and I don't know if your president, I don't know where your presentation is going, but you want to talk a little bit about what you did do in 2016?
in terms of the study.
Yeah, in terms of the study, just to kind of give a refresher.
Yeah, exactly. What we're going to get into here is the study that was conducted by the Ohio Fire Chiefs looked at where our fire stations are currently located in terms of the growth of the township. They found that in terms of location, Station 1 is adequately located given the terrain, the response to Route 86, which is in our jurisdiction. The station right here is strategically located. The Station 2 recommendation was the recommendation made by the Ohio Fire Chiefs in terms of Station 2 was to move it south. Their principal area that they suggested that station be located is at the corner of Prouty and Morley. Most of you know the area well enough to know that that's a horrible intersection, just in terms of terrain, traffic, stuff like that. So it's not adequately suited for a fire station. So we started looking at some other options that were available, and given the topography of our township, it's very difficult to place a fire station really anywhere that has property available because of hills, turns, and what we term line of sight. We need at least 1,000 feet of approach line of sight to exit the fire station safely and give people enough distance to see us as they approach. So that became very difficult. In terms of the stations themselves, we asked them to look at what are our options in terms of remodeling or repairing the existing facilities. And the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association staff spent quite a bit of time studying this for us because that's always the more frugal thing to do. They looked at both existing facilities, including Station 1, Station 2. They also looked at the Fire Prevention Office, which is a house located right next to Station 2. But they also had to include structures like the Red Barn that's across the street. They had to also look at the service department. And the reason they had to look at those was because both those places house response vehicles. So they evaluated the time delay in getting to those vehicles and putting them in service as needed. They also looked at some of the structural elements of both stations. In terms of Station 1, some cracked mortar on the corners. We know we have some foundation issues that the service department has helped us with in years past. We have issues in terms of gear being stored where the vehicles are located, which is a safety concern. And it's also a concern in terms of wear and tear on the gear. Firefighters' gear runs just about $2,000 per set. And to have that exposed to sunlight and other elements of diesel exhaust and other stuff deteriorates the gear faster than what we want it to. We talked about space. Back when the fire station was built, we didn't have the staffing that we have today that is required to function as a fire department and an EMS service. So we've largely outgrown our space needs. In Red Barn, we have record storage that's not secure. It's not protected. In our stations, we have concerns with space in terms of just even something as simple as restroom facilities. The staff share one bathroom upstairs. We have a set of stairs that go from the top to the bottom to get to the base. The firefighters, if you've never been through the fire station at Station 1, the firefighters spend most of their time on the top floor. So at 3 in the morning when the alarms go off, they have to wake up, navigate stairs to go down to enter the bay, which the trucks are very close together. All this delays response time. So all this is geared towards reducing our response time, making it safer for our firefighters to travel from A to B within the firehouse to answer alarms more efficiently. It's also geared towards making firefighters safe. We've done a lot with that. We've added a ventilation system to both of our stations, but when we spec'd that out, we made sure that those systems are transferable to new facilities. They'll have to be expanded upon, but a lot of the elements of those are going to be able to be moved. So that was kind of the gist of the study. And do you have any specific questions about the study?
I think I just, again, please let me know if I'm misunderstanding that, but the gist that I got from it is that our response times and the ability to have mutual aid, Fire Station 1 sits at the appropriate spot based upon the terrain and the availability. Fire Station 2 probably sits in the most appropriate spot based upon those other considerations.
Yes.
Additionally, as time goes on, there may be a necessary need for a third fire station somewhere else, but the township is not populated enough, and because of the mutual aid, we're still having adequate coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And adequate coverage
Yes.
is the appropriate response time.
Yes.
Then they went on to the next portion of that, which was really just an evaluation of facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm closer to Fire Station 2, and as I could see that is a facility that holds 2 units, enclosed.
Enclosed, yes.
Okay, everything else is outside,
Mhm.
and the value of having things outside and inside is really, the maintenance of those things and how long we can keep them. They have very close quarters, and they're concerned about the closed quarters, and and the quarters that they're set up there is that we have gear that's contaminated that our firefighters are sleeping right under,
Mm-hmm.
or right next to, or right within, without really, and the result of that is that's how you have cancer victims, okay? Which is
Absolutely.
now well known because there's been, certainly movement and changes in the law, and certainly enough evidence to suggest here's how those things take place. So that's why as we're moving into these, and we have extremely, and I think I'm saying it politely, modest facilities.
Yes.
Okay?
Now, can I expand on that a little bit? Our firefighters take a lot of pride in their facilities, and they're very happy to be able to serve the community of Concord Township. And every day there's something going on in those firehouses that the firefighters are doing to maintain those facilities. It's no secret that firefighters have a lot of skills outside of the fire service, and we tap into those skills to help maintain our facilities as best we can. Sometimes we do have to reach out to outside vendors, but the firefighters are very proud of the facilities that they've been given by the township, and they do everything they can to take care of it.
And Alice, and we've done this because we do, prior to these firefighters being hired, they have interviews both with the fire department and with the trustees, and we tend to hire individuals that can aid in those maintenance of our facilities.
Yep.
I mean, they generally bring additional skills, and some bring extremely additional skills in helping us maintain those facilities.
So after the study was done, I reached out to the trustees and we put out a request for qualifications. Fire stations are unique in that we do not have to go for proposals right away. A lot of firehouses have been built in the past before we were able to go to qualifications first, where they got low bid, substandard construction. So now it's changed where fire stations are allowed to be built based on qualifications, and then we go to proposal. So we advertised that proposal, or the request for qualifications, in April, I believe, and we received those back. We received a total of 13 statements of qualifications from architects, mostly on the east coast of the United States, some from Ohio, Massachusetts, Virginia, Pennsylvania, all submitted statements of qualifications. Over the past several months, a few of the firefighters, Rita McMahon, with the help of Andy Rose and previously Kathy Mitchell, helped us evaluate those and kind of vet them out a little bit to see what's going to be a fit for Concord Township. So we narrowed the field down to 3 firms that came into the township, I believe that was July 20th?
Yes, sir.
July 20th. And we interviewed those firms, and they interviewed us, quite frankly. They asked questions of us as much as we asked questions of them. And we were able to, I think, confidently come down to the decision of having 2 excellent firms that we're having to choose between. So I think the process worked. I think it was educational for me. After we get to that point where we're selecting a firm to represent us and work with us on the next steps of this project, it's important to point out what those next steps are. This is all, this first phase is based on planning for that firm to get to know Concord Township, not just the fire department, but the neighborhoods and the whole community. And it's the next step is in that phase is for programming. Programming is the part where they evaluate what our needs are. How many trucks do we need to fit in the bay? How many dorms do we need? What size kitchen? What size fitness room? All the things that come into a firehouse. How do we want to position our gear for safe storage? So all those elements come into play. How do we adequately move fire prevention from the offices that they're in into the headquarters station to be close to town hall and zoning and to better serve the customer? So all that comes into the planning and programming. Then we get into schematic design and how do we make that program fit on certain property and what property is available that would adequately fit that. So those are the next steps. But first we have to select a firm, negotiate with that firm, and have them submit a proposal. And then we can get into those discussions. Now, by the end of that phase, we should have a good idea of what our financial obligation is going to be for these projects and set an estimate of construction costs. Because the very next step, I believe, is construction documents, and we get actually into the construction of the stations. But again, we're not rushing this through. We want to make sure that we're taking our time and that we're making smart decisions for the township, for the trustees, and for the fire department. questions?
No questions.
All right, well, thank you very much for your
Thank
time
you.
tonight.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is to select an architect. Am I hearing a suggestion to table?
I would make a motion to select LeMay Erickson as our architect for the first phase of the fire station project.
Is that acceptable to Mr. Galloway as well? Or should we?
I didn't have a discussion with Mr. Galloway regarding that.
I would think that we would want his input on this decision. Is it essential that we do this tonight, or can we table it for Mr. Galloway's input?
Madam Chair, I had conversations with Mr. Galloway over the past several days while he's been out, and one of the items we discussed, and if it's acceptable to the board, Mr. Galloway was happy with LeMay Erickson.
That's all I
He was
need.
also, I know, happy with HG, and he would be thrilled with either selection.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know. So do I hear a motion?
I so move.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So it's LeMay. Now we have
I make a motion based upon our zoning department's recommendation for Board of Zoning Appeals alternate member appointment of James Rowe effective August 15th, 2018 through August 14th of 2020.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And
Would you like me to read the
yes,
meetings?
I would like you to read the future meetings and announcements.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On Wednesday, the 22nd of August at 7 p.m., we'll have a motor vehicle license public hearing. The second one, at approximately at 7:15 or immediately following, we'll do the limited home rule public hearing at Town Hall. And at 7:30 p.m. or immediately following, we'll have the special meeting at Town Hall. On Saturday, August 25th, from 10 to noon is Community Shred Day, so get those boxes ready. You're limited to 3 boxes. Come on over and we'll throw them in the shred bin and they shred them away. So I know everybody is asking us about that every year. Saturday, Saturday, August 25th. Monday, September 3rd, we are closed in observance of Labor Day. Tuesday, September 4th at 9 a.m. will be a staff meeting in the conference room at Town Hall here. 7 p.m. Zoning Commission meeting at Town Hall. Wednesday, September 5th at 6:30 p.m. Trustee office hours at the conference room. And at 7:30 p.m. is the trustee regular meeting here at Town Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else to come before this board, I will adjourn the meeting.